Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to this trio of games where I am playing around in my new toy, the M48A1 Patton. That's right, it might have taken almost 2 years, but I eventually got my first Tier 10 tank, the American Tier 10 medium tank. So here we go. This is one of the very early games I played in it. Basically, this trio of games I'm going to show you, they're not going to show you anything spectacular. Don't expect any kind of, solo carries or anything. They were just games I wanted to include because it's my first Tier 10 tank. I want to show it off, I'll be honest. And I'm just getting the feel for the tank at the time. You can see, you might be able to see, I do have the top gun on this. This thing gets 2 guns. The first gun, well no, it gets 3 guns technically. The first is a garbage 90mm gun you never want to use. The second is the top 105mm gun from the M46 Patton that you could use to grind with. It kind of do the job, I guess, but it's not great. And the third is this 105mm gun. It's basically a license-built copy of the British Royal Ordnance L7 105mm. And it's a decent little gun. So, here we go. Batchat is coming for me. And in doing so, he's pretty much throwing his life away. There we go. And you may have noticed, first shot he fired at me either went into the ground or my tracks. Can't remember which. I think it went into my tracks. And second shot bounced. Now, you'll also notice the equipment I'm using, by the way, on this tank at the moment is my grinding equipment. I didn't have the coin to get anything better at the time. Now, one thing I've noticed a lot of people say about this tank is that the armour is not great. Now, the armour is not fantastic, no, but if you keep wiggling it, if you keep it moving, if you don't give people easy shots at particular parts of your armour they might want to shoot at, you can actually get some pretty nice bounces on this tank. And I've especially had good luck facing Batchats, because they come round, they turn up, they pump shots into you. There we go, another bounce. They pump shots into you, thinking they can just assassinate you. And then you bounce some shots, and then you murder them. And it's also worth pointing out, all you Batchat drivers out there, if you get average damage rolls, you do not kill a full health Patton. Because a Patton has 2000 health, and you deal 50 damage shy of 2000 damage with a full clip with average damage rolls. Just something to bear in mind. So, I should probably say, map, we are here on Miravanka. Is it Miravanka? No, Prokhorovka, sorry. And I've taken the Patton to the central ridgeline area. So the Patton has awesome view range, 420 meters, basic view range, very nice indeed. Has a pretty nice gun. It's not the best gun on a Tier 10 medium tank, but, it's fairly nice. It's still a Tier 10 gun at the end of the day. The armour is okay, and it has 9 degrees of gun depression, which is, it's less than all of the previous American medium tanks down to the Lee, the M3 Lee. All the others up tiers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 get at least 10 degrees of gun depression. Some of them get 12. Now, alas, you may have noticed, we've got a bunch of guys sitting at the base of the 1 and 2 lines, not doing a great deal of much. And we have a whole glut of heavy tanks at H0, not doing a great deal of much. Neither of which bode particularly well for our chances. Having said that, we're 3 kills to 1 up. We've nailed one of their artillery, which on this map is a very valuable kill indeed. Artillery is the bane of this map when you get multiple artillery pieces. And we have managed, including that suicide Batchat died. Oh, we just lost an IS-7, that's not great. We just lost an IS-3 as well, and there goes our IS-8. I bounce another shot. Ugh. Suddenly this isn't looking quite so rosy. Now that M41 Bulldog is playing well. He's just keeping people lit up. I say screw this, I'm going to try and move back to a position from where I can defend our base, because basically our heavy tanks drove up to H0, G0 and died. Now, I don't know the exact tactical situation they were in, but they did just die. There's only so many ways of phrasing that. AMX 5120. And one of the big things you notice about this pattern over the previous one is, of course, it fires APCR ammo as standard. This means, firstly, it gets very high penetration. So, still your standard kind of 390 average damage, but you're looking at 268 pen. That shot goes into our tracks. So just shy of 278 penetration, and as it's APCR ammo, the shell speed is very tasty indeed. Now, trying to get some shots over the ridgeline on these fellows at the back. There's the 5120. Put a shot into him. Can we do that again? Yes, we can. 362. Slightly low damage roll, but we'll run with it. And then we switch our attentions to these guys to try and do something about them. Conqueror just gets wrecked by our artillery. Jolly good. Ah, no. Oh dear. Oh, E75. Oh, no, 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 no. E75 is totally screwed. We might be able to avenge him, but that's about the best we're going to be able to do. Yep, take out the 5120. And our E75 just went splat. He got set on fire and he had an autoloader on him, and that was nasty. So, there's that bloody bulldog that's been driving me mad all damn game. Yeah, he did very well, you know. Let's be nasty to him. He played a good game. That was a horrible shot. I shouldn't have bothered. Nonetheless, our Waffenträger nails the E50, and there we go. I suddenly lose lots of health to artillery. Artillery is very powerful on this map. Especially if, you know, team has a competent light tank driver, like that damn Walker Bulldog. Now, I managed to put a shot into him and make him sod off. Our Waffenträger goes down, that just leaves myself and our artillery. Nail that Bulldog. Yeah, as our IS-7 has said several times, he appears to have bad ping. Happens. IS-8, sorry, 121 nails our artillery. Get a shot onto the 121. Object 140's coming for me. This is not good. Ouch. Put a shot into the 140. I don't think I'm going to survive this. And there we go, I'm dead. But good amount of regular damage. 2 kills. Good amount of assistance damage. I wasn't playing this with the optimal equipment setup I would like to use on this tank yet. Bounced some shots, you know, bounced a good number of shots. The tracks ate quite a few shots. I'm actually really quite liking this tank when I played this. So, initial impressions of this machine were favourable, although the initial impressions of the machine were favourable, but my god, the first chunk of games I played, I had something like a 15% win rate for about the first 20 odd games or something stupid. I really did struggle to pull in the wins. Anyway, there's game number 1, so have a look at the post-game stats, and then we'll jump into game numero 2. Here's game number 2. I could have now, of course, make a joke about us being top tier once again. Ho ho ho, I'm so witty. But I'm not going to do that because, you know, I have standards. So this is an assault game here on... You know, the name of the map has just fallen out of my head. Karelia, there we go. Now, if I were in a fast medium tank or a light tank, I would quite like to go to the D4 kind of region, but I'm not doing that for a couple of reasons. One, the Patton, while it's not slow, it's not the fastest machine out there. 2, it's a big target. The Patton is a large tank, or the Patton as some people call it, sorry. Patton, it's a big tank. And so you're just begging to get shot at a lot. And even at the best of times, going to D4 can be a bit of a high-risk strategy. Can be very rewarding, but it can be very risky indeed. And I'm a top-tier tank, and I wouldn't feel comfortable taking that kind of risk in a top-tier machine, where they're kind of relying on me to do a good amount for my team. So, shot number 1 into the AMX 1375 there. Can I get a second shot off? I can. And he is dead. So, really nice there. As I mentioned in the previous replay, APCR as standard ammo gives you a nice high shell velocity, so it's much easier to lead your targets than it was at tier 9, for instance, with the M46 Patton. And I should also note here, I'm using my preferred equipment here rather than the Binos Camonet repair kit. I'm using Vertstab, optics, and gun rammer. Now you may have noticed that I don't have Sixth Sense on this tank. That's simply because I kept my previous crew in the M46 Patton rather than moving them up, and bought a new crew for this tank. Now you could argue that I should have moved the crew up and then bought a new crew for the M46, but screw it. I wanted to keep my M46 crew badass because I have a lot of fun in that tank, and I thought giving it a new crew and making it worse would make me very sad. And I don't regret that decision, even though, you know, many people might say, well, it wasn't a particularly good idea. I don't care. I don't regret the decision. So. Ooh, ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. We took a shot there from the 121 and from the Foch. There's a Foch 155 in the background, damaging our tracks in both cases. Thankfully, we didn't take too much. Well, we took a good chunk of actual damage there, but it could have been a lot worse. There's a Lorraine 40-ton going about his business, and his business is currently getting absolutely wrecked. As that demonstrated, as you can see there, you really don't need to lead the shot by a huge amount with this gun, which is very nice indeed. Now the Patton, the M48 Patton, is not the most popular tank in the world. A lot of people consider it a jack of trades that really struggles to remain competitive. Especially with a lot of the newer medium tanks that have been introduced, and I struggle to comment too much because I haven't played. That was a nice shot. Because this is the only tier 10 I've played. So I can't properly compare it with the FV4202 or the STB1 or the Object 140 or any of these other medium tanks that the Patton is often compared to, but my initial impressions have been that it's not a bad tank, certainly. You know, okay, the size can be a bit frustrating, but I like the armour. The armour's good enough to get some bounces. The Patton moves around the battlefield reasonably well. I like the fact that it has big chunky tracks that absorb a lot of shots. You know, you can make this tank work for you. And I've had a lot of fun driving it so far. I haven't played a huge number of games in it thus far, but I have had fun in it. VKB. That was buffed so that its front armour is awesome. I'm not sure if it was awesome at the point when I played this. Can't remember. Front armour's awesome. Rear armour, not so much. Foch 155. Can I get a shot on his weak spot? Yes, I can. Gun may not be the most accurate gun in the world. 0.36 accuracy. But something like a 2-second aim time along with, it's pretty nice to have. And someone else nails that artillery. LTTB, well done to him. And so we press upwards. Currently got 2 kills and done a nice amount of damage. And there's that 121. He looks like he wants to come down here and play with us, so I'm being a little wary of him.
5-minute warning.
Rick the King. Well, it looks like he's got his rear to me and he's concentrating on other people. It would appear rude not to take advantage of that. And I don't like being rude. One shot into him, and a second shot into him as he desperately copes with his terrible, terrible gun depression. And I see if I can abuse the hell out of that. Yes, I can, and that's kill number 3. you know, knowing the weaknesses of your enemy's tanks. You know, strength of that tank, gun is awesome. Weakness, gun depression sucks. There we go. I'm massively oversimplifying it, but that's pretty accurate. IS-8 has popped out. 402 through his side. The reload on this gun is not the best, certainly of the tier 10 medium tanks, but it's pretty respectable. I'm certainly, you know, not complaining about it. Kill number 4. Just leaves an IS-8 and an E100. E100's off to the left there. IS-8 is over to the right. Don't really have effective shots on the E100. But I gamble that the IS-8 screwed. No. Okay, switch back to the IS-8, the E100. Definitely screwed. And can we? No, someone else picks up the kill. So there we go. 4 kills, as it turns out, over 4,000 damage. And that ended up being a fairly respectable game. Second class mastery, you know, respectable, nothing truly outstanding, but fairly nice. Ended up, you know, we won by a relatively convincing margin. It wasn't a complete ruffle stomp, but it was a good win. And I was starting to like this tank, as indeed I do. So, take a look at those post-battle results, and then we'll jump into game number 3, which is a little different. Here we are with game number 3. Now, this is, as I say, a very different game. A couple of things to note. Firstly, we have it's technically a failed platoon on our team, but not by too much. It's basically a couple of tier 7 guys platoon with a tier 8, and they got dragged into a tier 10 game. Let's not worry too much about it. Encounter game on Sand River, a map that favours gun depression. The Patton has nice gun depression at 9 degrees, but you do notice the, you know, having played up the American medium tank line, where, as I say, from tier 5 upwards, the worst gun depression you've had has been 10 degrees. You do notice the lack of a degree there. You do end up thinking, I swear I could have taken that shot in the Sherman, in the T20, in the Pershing, in the M46, whatever tank you're thinking of. But you can't take it in the M48. Just deal, basically. But this game isn't so much about me and the pattern, and more about, well, it is a little bit, but it's more about the game in general. And it's an exciting game, I think. It's quite tense. Bit of a contrast to the previous game. And I am going to make some pretty bad mistakes. Let's just put that out there. And just to kick proceedings off, alright, so a couple of things to note. Firstly, by the look of it, essentially our entire team has headed north. This is an encounter game. The cap circle is in the south. Next thing to note, we have already lost 3 tanks, one of which is tier 10. You know, we've lost an ISU-152, a T-34, and a Waffenträger Alpha E-100, all of which are perfectly capable of doing a lot of damage in this game, especially as there's a lot of tier 8s on either side. In particular, that Waffenträger. And keep an eye on that Object 704. Have a look at his results at the end, along with another player that I can't remember at the moment, but I think will become apparent. Have a look at the results. They do very well from themselves. So I just want at the moment to have a shout out for Erlson. Erlson does really nicely. And has my back, which is always good. So, down the south here, we have Erlson in his Object 704. We have me, and that's it. And someone has started capping. Great. And as I say, we're losing 0-3. Boo. So I'm trying to take sort of a long route round. You know, the encounter cap doesn't go up very fast, so I've got time, and there's the person in the cap circle. Tiger 2, tier 8. Okay, we can work with that. Just trying to see if I can pick up a shot on anyone. Ooh, that big chunk of damage looked like it might have been our Object 704. And I managed to put a shot into him as well, and then pull back. And we just lost to Tiger 2, making the scoreline 0-4. Oh, for goodness sake. It looks like the enemy Tiger 2, no longer has any interest in sitting in that cap circle. RIS3 is already calling the team an idiot team. Oh well. The Tiger 2 appears to have no interest in sitting in that cap circle anymore. Which, considering that he just took about 1,000 damage to his face, you know, you can understand. We just lost our KV4, making the scoreline 0-5. And yes, I did say at the beginning of this game it would be quite tense, so bear with me. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Tiger 2 on the enemy team, that shot, alas, only tracks him. Never mind. See if I can reload in time to get another shot on him. That one bounces. This is the accuracy of the M48 coming into play. It's not that accurate. That shot, however, goes clean through his side. At range, you know, it's only really accurate enough to aim for centre of mass, basically. And our Object 704 finishes their Tiger 2 off. So, scoreline is currently 2-6. And again, someone's capping 2-7. Oh dear. And, okay, now, I was going for the cap circle. There's an Indian Panzer behind me. What I should be doing here is turning around, facing the Indian Panzer, and dealing with him. Because the cap circle, on encounter, does not go up that quickly. Instead, I rush forward to deal with this STA-1. Now, thankfully, one of the shots from that Indian Panzer went into my rear. I ram that STA-1 for some damage. Look at his gun. He does not have the top gun. He has the stock gun, which gives me some options here. It means I can actually bounce him with my frontal armour and finish him off there now. But here's the thing. Okay, so I've gone in here and successfully, well, depending on whether I live or die here, can I get a bounce? He's going to reload before I do, I think. I bounce him. He does not bounce me. Now, the mistake I made there, I just lost basically all of my health to a pair of tier 8s. That was terrible play. I shouldn't have lost that much health to tier 8s. Put a shot into the side of that Tiger 2. Now, how should I have done that? What I should have done is turn around, dealt with the Indian Panzer behind me, killed him, and then gone and dealt with the STA-1. There was no massive hurry to deal with the STA-1 in the cap circle. It's an encounter game. The cap circle, as I am demonstrating right now, by sitting in the cap circle, goes up really... Sorry, the cap counter goes up really slowly. But there we go. That big mistake there. Now, I took out that Tiger 2, and I'm currently pondering. We've managed to pull this back to 9 kills to 10, due in no small part to that Object 704 and that T-54E1. We lose our IS-3, but we're trailing by 2 tanks. But that's good, relatively speaking, you know. You could argue that I should be going over and directly helping my team here. I am a top tier tank. But, because of my stupidity, I'm a top tier tank who does not have a huge amount of health left. And as it is at the moment, sitting in their cap circle, okay, yes, it tells them where I am. But it does also place pressure on them. And I was thinking at the moment that this was probably the most useful thing I could do. Draw the enemy out, draw them toward our Object 704, and let him nuke them, essentially, was what I was thinking. Now, oh, their 704's not happy that he got killed, deal. Their Lorraine 40-ton is heading for our Object 704. In fact, he's, you know, the enemy Object 704 was very unhappy. Well, he can deal with it. So, in order for the Lorraine to nail our object, he's going to have to drive up toward him. If he does that, I'm going to have shots into his bum. Just nailed their T-30, by the way, our Object 704 did. And I get one shot into the Lorraine. Can I get in another one? Second shot into the Lorraine. And the Object 704 finishes him off. So there we go. It's just the 2 of us left. And I managed to help him out. So, 2 plays 2. The other 2 are an AMX 5100 and a Jagdpanzer E100. Jagdpanzer E100, I don't think there's enough time for him to actually drive over to the cap circle in order to kill me himself. So, to my mind, the main threat at the moment is actually that 5100. That's what I'm thinking. He has the mobility to actually achieve something. And this is the problem with those sort of big lumbering slow tanks. In this sort of stage of the game, you can almost be written off. Now, our Object 704, to give credit to him, is driving toward the cap circle. Our T-54E1 is saying, please win. We will try. There's the Jagdpanzer E100. I underestimated him, kind of. He has gone down into the valley in the middle, or that sort of pond area. What does that mean? Well, that means he's really going to struggle to get out of that area. I am sitting still. Why am I sitting still? Better camo rating than if you're moving. The Jagdpanzer's gone into that central section. He's not going to get out, so screw that. Ignore him. He is irrelevant. We just have to worry about that AMX. And I'm trying to get the 704 to come in the cap circle with me. And there's the AMX behind me, behind me, behind me, behind me, behind me. I'll notice him in a minute. Oh, he missed me. 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and I am not risking poking out. 100, base captured. I could probably have poked out and killed that 5100, but I wasn't going to risk it. He could have put a shot into me, killed me, removed our caps counter, and then killed the 704. Wasn't worth the risk. I just wanted to guarantee the win there. And breathe. Pay attention. I did not get the best score on my team by a long stretch of the imagination. As I say, I made mistakes. There are bits there I played really badly. I stand by my decision to stay in the cap circle at the end. It ended up winning us the game. And as I say, I would like to give a big shout out to the top two guys on our team. It was the Object 704 who stuck in my mind. I think the other guy was the T-54E1. So those two tier 9s were awesome. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that game. Or enjoyed that trio of games. I know they weren't spectacular, but as I say, new toy and all that. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my other videos. And or subscribe to my channel. And I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.